Hi, and welcome to The Wise and the Foolish, a program from Family and Friends International. And The Wise and the Foolish is a program based upon Jesus' teaching, very famous teaching called the Sermon of the Mount. And you can find that in Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. And so much richness, so much good food, and actually everything that we need to live a good, solid, and flourish Christian life as Jesus followers.
Yes.
And he finished off, and I just want to remind ourselves about, he finished off his sermon by saying, everyone who hears these things, who hears these things I say and obeys them is like a wise man. The wise man built his house on a rock, on his teaching, on Jesus' teaching. That is the wise way of living and building a house.
Yes, and the foolish way is, of course, not listening to the teaching of Jesus.
Yes, and today. And we want to bring in the news. We want to bring in the headlines, and we want to bring in the world, because Jesus also said that we can live in this world but not by it. So he knows what is going on and how we can implement everything that he said into everyday situation. And Johan, you found something today that Jesus says in Matthew 6 and 34. So don't worry about tomorrow. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Tomorrow will have its own worries.
Yes.
And what did you find?
Well, the reason is, I think no one has missed the tragedy that have happened with the Malaysian airline that got shot down in Ukraine, and this absolute sudden catastrophe. Not just, it was almost 300 people. And if you can think about the families, how many people are affected. And I know, because I have been affected by a tragedy myself. When my mother, my stepdad died in the Estonia tragedy, Estonia ferry. It was about 800 people that went down with the ferry between Stockholm and
Estonia.
Yeah, Estonia, in the Baltic Sea. And
almost 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years ago, 28th of September 1994. And the sudden shock when everything comes just so sudden. And but that verse is actually reminding me so much, because we can let our worries, our day-to-day, just put a shadow over lives today. Because Jesus, he wants us to enjoy life today. He wants us to embrace love today. He wants us to enjoy every moment. And when he says, do not worry about tomorrow, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. We could be on our way to, I think this was going to Kuala Lumpur, this plane, and suddenly get shot down by a plane. The possibilities are very, very small, but we don't know. So I think it's so important to live today. And this is, I sat down and I thought to myself, I wonder how many people now thinking, oh, I wish I would have told him I forgive you, or I told her I love you, or I wish. So many things that people wish, because
was that a thought that came to mind when your mom and stepdad died?
No, for me it was because I remember the last time I saw my mom, and we discussion about life. I had just moved to Stockholm, moved away from home, and she was a bit not worried about me, but we had a really nice conversation, and I felt her love, and she just said, I remember on that journey she took me by car to the train that's going to take me to Stockholm, and she said, don't forget I love you. So no, I had nothing, but I know I met other people that in some ways, oh, I wish I could. We were, the last time we spoke we were angry, or
and I think also one comfort, even though we don't believe that it was God who created the Estonia tragedy, or this plane crash, or we know that we serve a God who can use everything for good,
Yes.
even though it is through a period of pain for all these people, and you know that it is a season of pain and grief. But we believe that God came, so also these people who've just lost moms and dads and sons and daughters and dear ones and beloved ones can be reconnected to the purpose and love that Jesus came for all of us to have. And even though a tragedy might knock on the door tomorrow, the promise of God is still will still remain.
And I also think that it's so important, these type of events, I know for a fact it changed my life. And it, depending how you look on things, but sometimes it has to take a huge tragedy in order for us to change direction in our life. But I'm telling you, you don't have to have a huge tragedy to change the way you're living.
No.
It doesn't have to go so far as it did in our marriage. It had to have a huge crisis in order for God to wake us up. You can actually start changing your marriage, your life today, just by embracing God's promises, and read Matthew, the Sermon on the Mount is so, it's so spot on.
And I think I want to finish off with a reminder of what he said to finish off his teaching, that everyone who hears these things I say and obeys them is like a wise man. The wise man built his house on a rock. But he starts the very same message by these words: those people who know they have great spiritual needs are happy. The kingdom of heaven belongs to them. And I think it's such a comfort for me, especially when I've been a mess, but sometimes I still think, God, what? How can you use me? How can you use this crazy stuff that goes on in me? But God is the God of mess.
Yes,
He can. If we're just hungry, and like I said, in great spiritual needs, it's not just a little tiny bit. It's great spiritual need, and if we acknowledge that and run to Him, He thinks that we are a person who builds a house on a rock, and that we are a wise person. So we doesn't have to be fixed before we run to Him.
No,
we become fixed when we run to Him.
And I just encourage you as well, give Him thanks for what you have today.
Yeah.
Thank you for food. Thank you for having a family. Give Him what you have.
Yes.
So He can bless it.
Toothpaste. Toothbrush.
A kiss. Just spread God's love, and don't worry about tomorrow. If you take care of today, tomorrow will take care of itself.
Yes, that's the promise of His word.
Yes.
And trust it, and build your house like a wise person.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. God bless you.
God bless.